Oh, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. And I am Mr. Warren Hayes, welcoming you to another Thursday night full of wrestling fun and discussion in action right here on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. Here we go again. It's another week, and that's completed in the world of professional wrestling. We've got a lot to talk about here on October 21st, 2020, as I record here live, again, as I said, on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. Because yes, I do these live and in the flesh every Thursday night for anyone who wants to pop in. 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific, and then you have, all the other time zones in between or around that can participate. And there's people who actually jump in to come say hello and join us. Like Kelly Tonjes is here. Nice to see you, Kelly. And Robert Larry is here. Good to see you as well. Robert, nice to see you guys. Mr. Fretz is here. Nice to see you, Fretz. We got Justin Firestein, who's here as well. Our boy Ben Phantomark82, facebook.com/Phantomark82. You know you wanna. Nice to see you. We've got William Davis, who's here as well. Look at that great group of people starting to trickle in and join us here as we get this going live tonight for more wrestling talk. Ooh, it was a busy day today too. It was really, really ocupado. It was by far a really big day. But I'm excited to talk about all the stuff that's been going down, and especially over the week. And I appreciate you all being here. If you're already here, and look, leave a like if you feel like it. If you're like, hey, this is pretty cool so far, I'll give this video a like. That's a big help. And if you're watching this on YouTube on your own accord, on demand, hey, please go right ahead and do the same thing. Leave a video, not a video. Don't leave a video on my channel. I don't know how you do it, to be very honest. To be perfectly honest, not quite sure how you'd pull it off. But do leave a like, a comment later on if you're watching this on demand as well, or if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast application, because yes, the Mr. Warren Hayes Show is available on all of your favorite podcast applications. Well then, why don't you can leave a review. You can follow or subscribe. Do whatever you can to show some love there. By God, by golly, by jeez. That'd be fantastic. That stuff always helps out, and I appreciate it in advance. Thank you all very much. And, another thing that I'd appreciate you doing is giving us a follow over at bell2bells.com, or at least, visit, bookmark it. Do people still bookmark websites? I feel nobody does that anymore. Like, I feel like the only people who bookmark websites were people who were around, like, in its infancy, in the web's infancy. If you used Netscape Navigator back in the day, then I'm like, yeah, you're probably still a bookmarker. I don't know. Chat, do any of you still use bookmarks? It's so easy now to just tap in things, and your history keeps a track about all, I don't know. Oh, you see, we still, look, I'm getting off track here. Bell to Bells. Look, if you're still bookmarking, bookmark Bell to Bells. If you're on Twitter, go to twitter.com/Bell to Bells. That's BELLTOBELLEES.com. And do us a follow there. Yeah, y'all in the chat are making me crack up right now. But do that, and you're gonna have a really good reason why. Because as a lot of you know, and this is one of the topics that I want to chat about tonight. The PWI released the Women's 150. Kristen Ashley, of course, First Lady of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, but also a contributor to Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Also was a member of the selection committee, as was I. And at Bell to Bells this weekend, we are doing a celebration of women's wrestling. We're taking advantage of the release of the 150 to do a big celebration of stuff in regards to of stuff. That's very good, Warren. Very articulate. But all sorts. We're going to have a whole bunch of content and interviews up and available for for everyone to come and join in regards to women's wrestling, of course. And this is what we have like on the slate so far. Well, I think the main attraction is going to be Sunday, this Sunday, October 24th, starting at 12 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have a roundtable with the PWI Women's 150 Ranking Committee. So myself, Kristen, we're going to have Kevin McElvany, the editor-in-chief of PWI. We're going to have Candice, Cordelia, and JPQ, who are also on the committee, who are going to be joining us. I think it's Ella. I don't remember if Ella is going to be joining us because we're scheduling so much stuff. But we're going to have a nice roundtable discussion on that. So if you want to pop in, come and ask some questions, that's a good moment to come in and tell us what you feel, right? We're also going to have a roundtable regarding Joshi in the West. We're going to be joined by Alex and Kayla of the Church of Joshi, and Mei Saruga and Aki from Choco Pro. We're going to have a really fun discussion on the state of Joshi right now in in America. Going to be playing some Jackbox games with Billy Starks, and see, she's bringing some friends over. Charlie Evans, for instance, she's bringing over Lainey Luck. So if you want to come have a good laugh with us, that should be a blast. We've got interviews lined up. Mickey James, Mercedes Martinez, Camille, the Hex. Dare I say it? I think I'll go ahead and say it. Ty Conchi is also on the list. Fantastic stuff. So I'm excited to share all of this with you guys. We're starting Saturday with the content. The live stream is happening Sunday at 12. It's going to last 3 hours. We're going to have a lot of fun. Be sure to check it out. I'm really excited about it. We've been working hard, putting a lot of stuff together. We've been conducting tons of interviews. I did another fun one with someone from Tokyo Joshi Pro last night as well. Ooh la la. Ooh la la. Got a lot of good stuff. So bookmark the site. or hey, subscribe to the Bell to Bells YouTube channel. That's another thing, right? So there you go. So that's all good. So please join us. And you can also join us in our Discord. With the link is in the description, and also the chat bot will take care of that. But if you're not watching live, the link is in the description. Come and join us. It's always a fun time. We have fun discussions. Things get really, really animated. It's a good time. Come and pop in. We'll chat wrestling. That's what we do. A lot of the regulars who are in the live chat here do that. So that's amazing. And don't forget to come to the post stream. Once I'm done with this stream, I fire up a post stream with the members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the PWI Women's 150. We're going to be discussing the list in about itself. Want to get opinions and thoughts? Kristen Ashley might even join us to come give some extra insight on top of mine. So you're more than welcome to come and join us. Ask some questions. It's very interactive. We talk a lot. People in the chat take calls from the Discord. But you have to show up. To show up, you have to become a member. Check that out and show support for the Mr. Warren Hayes Show at the same time. And speaking of showing support, you can also leave a super chat. And I will read your question or comment or mood on the air, such as Anakin JMT. Good to see you, Anakin. Nice to see you tonight. He says, didn't watch Sands of Time, but all hail King Woods. Yes, definitely. Definitely hail King, our King, our Lord. It's such a good move. It's probably am I going too far by saying that it's the best thing to come out of the entire thing? I think, I didn't watch it. You guys know this, but I will be chatting up a little bit of Sands of Time a little later on. But congratulations to Xavier Woods for finally getting his hands on the crown, the coveted crown that he's been wanting that for a while. Good for him. And just before we jump into the nitty gritty of the stuff, I want to say hello to Sheelit Showcase, who's finally catching a live one. Good to see you. Welcome to the chat. I say hello to Chris Jacobs. Nice to see you. William Davis. I already said hello, but I'm not going to interrupt another hello. Hello, William Davis. Peter Davies is here as well. Nice to see you, Pete. And Supersonic X, Nice to see everyone. Let's get to it. We're in the mood for some weekly wrestling inspecting. Welcome back. So to start things off tonight, I did a poll. As I sometimes do. I didn't do it for the past couple of weeks. Why didn't I do it, you ask? You may be asking me, Warren, why didn't you do a poll over the past couple of weeks? Oh, because I forgot. Because I forgot. But usually when we're... There's no other reason. It's just, I start up the stream and I'm like, damn it! So I asked the live viewers of the MrWarrenHayes show what they would like me to start talking about tonight. I put up 4 options. Option number 1 was Shibata. Option number 2 was Shibata. Option number 3 was Shibata. And option number 4 was the PWI Women's 150. And we are going to be starting, if my math is correct, 28 plus 21 is 49, and the PWI Women's 150 garnered 50% of the vote. So we are going to start talking about the PWI 500. Listen, awesome stuff. It's awesome because I've mentioned it, but I believe I believe that I am very, very thrilled to have been a member of the selection committee this year. Tim Traver, good to see you. Welcome. It was very much an honor to join, and as a rookie, as a guy who's just coming in first year, straight off the plane, I guess, into this, I gotta say, I'm really proud of how this list came together. I'm really proud of the top 10 that we put together, and especially the top 5. I'm really, really excited for it. And guys and gals, if you please let's have a discussion. Open up in the chat here. Let me know who you think should have been or is the top 5 women of the year. I'm completely okay with it. If we disagree, we can't always be in agreement. That's fine. Beep boop. Good to see you. Welcome to the chat as well. But basically, just to give a global idea, a great big paintbrush stroke to all of this, to understand where everyone comes from. Excuse me. Here, there we go. The criteria for choosing the women on this list went as follows. First of all, the evaluation period started on October 1st, 2020, and lasted till September 30th, 2021. So that was the evaluation period for the women. The criteria, it's very simple and also not simple at the same time. In-ring achievement, influence, activity, technical ability, and breadth/quality of competition. Emphasis was placed on success within women's divisions and promotions. Good to see you, Jason PS3. Welcome. So as you probably heard by now, the number one pick here for the list for the 150. By the way, first year that the list is at 150. It was at 100 last year and was boosted up to 50. And even at 150, this is something that's important to underscore. Even at 150, there were some very difficult decisions that we had to make at some point. We're like, who are we leaving off the list? At some point, it got extremely tough, despite having 150 spots for women, to be like, well, no, we're gonna erase a few here. Okay, it was really tough. But Bianca Belair tops the list at number 1, and here, I'll rattle off the top 5 in case you don't know, in case you're not aware yet. Bianca Belair was at topped the list at number 1. Number 2 was Utami Hayashishita. Number 3 was Deonna Purrazzo. Number 4 is Britt Baker. And number 5, Thunder Rosa. Now, before I say anything individually about all 5, this is what I'm really, really proud of. Last year's 100 was entirely, the top 5 was made up of WWE women. It was WWE women. And this year, look at what we have. We have WWE, we have Impact, we have AEW, and we have Stardom. We've got some Joshi representation, and Utami coming in at number 2 is the highest ranked female Japanese wrestler. And at number 5, you've got Thunder Rosa, who, in my opinion, represents, is the perfect representation of the Forbidden Door, of someone who's wrestled everywhere, right? And everyone, just been all over the place. So on top of that, on top of her being extraordinary and talented, well, she's the perfect encapsulation of this Forbidden Door stuff that happened within the past year or so. And that's something that got me really excited. I feel like the top 5 is really representative of how great women's wrestling has been across the board and how diverse it is as well. It's all this diversity stuff in here. And, you can always, you always see those comments like, they forced this one here because they wanted, they wanted a person of color. But it wasn't even forced. We didn't, we never had we never had that discussion. I don't want to talk about past lists. I wasn't on them. But we never had a discussion where we were like, we need to put a person of color here or else. Everything just fell into place really naturally. Bianca at number 1 made a lot of sense. And I'm not going to lie. Listen here. Some inside baseball here. There was a lot of discussion within the committee, and I wouldn't want to say heated, but I will say heated. Very heated discussion between who should be number 1 and number 2. There were extremely strong cases made for both Utami and Bianca. And we truly, sincerely flip-flopped quite a bit between the two. And there was a lot of talk, and it kind of came down to the wire. And we settled on Bianca. And if we're talking, let's say, Bianca versus Utami, I mean, especially if we're talking on the criteria of activity, which usually means, the number of matches they put in, Utami is in a class by herself. The amount of matches that she had during the evaluation period dwarfs Bianca's, and her work rate is phenomenal. Bianca's a very, very talented wrestler. Don't get me wrong. They're just not exactly on the same scale. The thing here, and this is something that you'll understand, that it's not something that I can easily speak upon, but what Bianca Belair meant for a whole segment of wrestling fans, men, women, I'll go right out and say it, for black people, people of color, the fact that Bianca was in such a high position, main eventing a WrestleMania match with Sasha, holding the belt, winning the belt, and being such a force ever since the Royal Rumble, that had a lot to do. That's sort of what tipped the scales towards Bianca. Because on her achievements, right? She defeated Sasha Banks in the main event of WrestleMania Night 1, April 10. She won the Royal Rumble, right? She beat last year's number 1 ranked wrestler Bayley. That's in a championship match on Hell in a Cell, and that does count for something. She retained her title against in a defense against Carmella at the Rolling Loud Festival, and then she became number one contender again days after losing her title. But I think really it's her influence that really put her over the top of our girl Utami over in Stardom, who is, it's bonkers when you think about that. She's like, what, 3 years in the business? Like, you know, she's still a baby. Won the World of Stardom Championship by ending Mayu's year-long reign at the Sendai Cinderella event in November last year. She kept her title in a 43-minute war with Shuri in Tokyo on June 12th. And I think we've all seen that match at this point. This is bananas, right? Because this was also part of the reason why we put her up so high, is because she was part of this extraordinary match of the year contender that literally brought eyes to Stardom, that from people who don't usually watch Joshi. She retained her title a bunch of times this year. She defeated Momo at the Stardom Osaka Dream Cinderella event in December. She regained against B. Priestley. I mean, she's had just a fantastic year. She's absolutely fantastic. So that's why we settled for 1 and 2. Want to say hello to Everything Pro Wrestling, by the way. Conrad, nice to see you, and thank you, sir. Welcome to the chat. And Diego Rafael Solis Rivera. Good to see you, sir. Welcome as well. Diana Purrazzo in at number 3. Look, Diana, current Knockouts champion. Reina de Reyes, champion. Did I say that right? I don't even think I said it right. Reina de Reyes. Reina de Reinas. I don't know why I said the Reyes. The Reyes is kings. I got my royalties confused. It's Reina de Reyes. Reina de Reinas. Why am I saying Reyes? That's not it. Warren. So she's a dual title holder. She defeated Su Yung on November 14 to reclaim the Knockouts title. She defeated Fabi Apache in a title versus title match at Triple Mania this year. She beat the 5-time WWE Women's Champion Melina to retain her Knockouts title at the NWA Empower earlier this year in August. She even beat Pan-African World Diaspora Champion and favorite of the MrWarrenHayes show, Trish Adora, in a non-title match at the Global Syndicate Wrestling's Inception event in February earlier this year. So there's Diana she's a wrestler's wrestler, and she's fantastic. She's had nothing but a fantastic run, and I'm really excited to share the interview that I did with her a couple of days ago over the weekend. You'll probably get to see it on Saturday, actually, but I'm really, really excited because, we talk about how we talk about how things have been going for her since she left her former employer and decided to bet on herself. It's just absolutely fantastic. It kind of makes you wonder, if she had stayed, what would she be doing? Look at the state of NXT 2.0 right now, and try to imagine a Diana Purrazzo in that situation, or on main roster, right? Look at what they're doing with Toni Storm right now. They've called up Dakota Kai, and we still haven't seen her. It's like it boggles my mind. She when you consider someone leaving the Fed and having a better career for it, right? It just blows my mind, and you're like, it's astounding. It's absolutely astounding. Let me know, chat. Are you agreeing with this top 5 so far? Britt Baker's in at number 4. She had a fantastic year. I mean, that's not even a question. And, when we were weighing everything and we were looking at putting Britt Baker at number 4, we were like, oh, we are going to get so much shit for this. We are going to get so much trash for this. Because people love Britt so much, and there is so many reasons to love Britt Baker. She's been absolutely fantastic, and she's had one of the most memorable women's matches in history earlier this year with Thunder Rosa. She defeated Hikaru Shida to win the AEW Women's Championship at Double or Nothing in May. Retained her championship against Chris Statlander at All Out. She successfully defended the title against former champion Nyla Rose at Fyter Fest. She picked up a victory, against Thunder Rosa at the February 3 edition of Dynamite. And then we got another submission win against Red Velvet, another title defense in Britsburg, right, on October 13. She's a 6-year pro. She was ranked 22 last year. She's number 4. This is a huge step for her. I think the only thing that really worked against her was the number of matches. I think that's the only thing that really that was the biggest. I think that was the biggest impediment to her being ranked higher. But there's nothing to be ashamed of it being number 4, right? And Thunder Rosa rounding out at number 5. Look, Rosa's another one who's just been all over the place and has been fantastic. And, above her accomplishments, like defeating Britt Baker at the Lights Out match on March 11, despite winning the Warrior Wrestling Women's Championship on August 24th, defeating Riho in the semifinals of a tournament to determine the number 1 contender for the title on February 28th. Despite all of her in-ring achievements, I think one of the things that makes Rosa so important is how much she does for women's wrestling behind the scenes. Starting up Mission Pro, running that promotion out of Texas with just exclusively set for women. I think that's fantastic. But she works for women's wrestling behind the scenes so much, and the community work she puts in. She's someone who gives back as much as she takes, and those are things that count. They count in these types of rankings when we're talking about influence, when we're talking about inspirations. It's fantastic stuff. Number 5 made absolute sense for her. She was ranked at number 14 last year. So that's exciting. Forgot to mention, Deonna Purrazzo was at 23 last year. It's a pretty good jump. You want to talk about big jumps? So Tommy was at 65 in 2020. And Bianca was at 23. That's pretty fun. Rounding out, and again, and here's the things, I can't even begin to tell you how proud I am of the top 5. To me, this is the excellence of women's wrestling right now in the year that we're living. And whether we bicker and quibble as to whether who should have been one rank higher or lower, I think we're getting into minutia and maybe a tad of personal preference, because look, regardless of the criteria, these women are clearly the top draws from whichever angle you take, from whichever angle you see it. It's exciting. It's fantastic. And I'm very, very proud of it. And rounding up the top 10, we got Sasha Banks at number 6. Dropped a rank. She was at number 5 last year. We got Shuri at number 7. bumped up from 78 in 2020, so that's a big deal. Io Shirai in at number 8, 1 rank higher than last year. She was at number 9. Tam Nakano, which is pretty dope as well. She's at number 9. She did not rank in 2020. The last time she was ranked was in 2019 at number 76. So that's really cool. And at number 10, Raquel Gonzalez, who did not rank last year. There's so much fantastic, absolutely fantastic stuff. Definitely take the time to check out the list. Pick yourself up a copy of PWI. We're going to be talking about the list later on amongst ourselves, amongst the members. So do consider becoming a member if you want to talk more about the list. We'll probably even have, like I said, Kristen Ashley on with us to talk about it. 2 quick notes here. Trish Adora, she ranked at number 18. She is now she is signed, right? She's signed with Ring of Honor, but at the time when we were doing this, she was unsigned. She was the highest ranked unsigned wrestler on the list, up on number 18. So that was a really big deal for her. She was at number 86 the year before. And we did a few calculations, and just under a quarter of the entire list is made up of Joshi wrestlers. About 22%, if I'm not mistaken. And again, if I'm not mistaken, it is the highest highest number of Joshi wrestlers to be on the women's list ever. So that's really cool. It's good stuff. DGMC, good to see you. Welcome to the chat. We'll talk more PWI post show. Become a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show and join us. Join us, goddammit. New Japan Professional Wrestling. Oh, what did you weave for me today? My God. All right. The G1 is done. It's completed, but we had the final night of the G1, the finals of the G1. We had our block winners, Kazuchika Okada and Kota Ibushi, that were facing off in the main event tonight to determine who would win the G1, ergo get the briefcase that would allow them the chance to challenge for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom. But before we got to that, in an evening that just seemed very, very humdrum, just your basic stuff. It's like, okay, let's get these matches out of the way so we can get to the main event kind of thing. You have Zack Sabre Jr. who comes out, decked in his purest white gear. And he comes to the ring, and you're like, what's going on? Commentary's like, I think he's going to address us. No, there's no. He doesn't pick up a microphone, nothing happens. Nothing, he doesn't grab a microphone. Instead, we get the music of one Katsuyori Shibata that starts. And everyone sort of transfixes. Commentary starts losing their minds. And then and it's not a Bullet Club shenanigan. It's not Dick Togo being an asshole. No. Katsuyori Shibata walks out onto the ramp in his fucking gear. And he hits the ring to compete in a 5-minute UWF Rules exhibition match against Zack Sabre Jr. And everyone loses their shit. Everyone, look, I'll tell you how much of a big deal this was. It was such a big deal that our silent COVID restricted audience said, fuck it, we're not supposed to scream, we're not supposed to shout, but they cheered. They cheered loud. And why wouldn't you? And I'm glad they did. I'm glad they were like, fuck this. Shibata's here. And he's going to wrestle. And he did. He did a nifty, tightly wound little 5-minute exchange with Zack Sabre Jr. Lots of grappling back and forth like a good old-fashioned match show. 5 minutes just to give us a taste, just long enough to make us go, God damn, this guy's still great. And I want more. The match comes to 5 minutes. There's no distinct winner. Like, they said they were doing UWF rules, but UWF rules would, there'd be a point system, but there was no one there to mark points. So, there wasn't really a winner. This was clearly an exhibition. But seeing Shibata there in the ring again, just wrestling for all of us, it really did bring a tear to my eye, because I'm a big Shibata fan, and he was one of the guys that when I was watching New Japan back in the mid 2000s that had me hook, line, and sinker because of the way he wrestled. Because you talk about strong style, but then you got Shibata. Just like so incredibly powerful. And in case you don't know, maybe some of you listening right now don't know exactly what I'm talking about, but Shibata at Sakura Genesis in 2017, he lost a match against Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP title. After the match, Shibata collapsed backstage, and he was rushed to a hospital where it was discovered that he had a subdural hematoma, which required surgery, like emergency surgery. And the injury was, guess what? The injury was caused because of Shibata's repeated use of a headbutt as a signature move, something that he had been doing like regularly, right? You see, when I get anxious and nervous when wrestlers start pulling headbutts and worse, diving headbutts, this is why. He also experienced some paralysis on the right side of his body, and after this, it was said he'll never wrestle again, where he's done. Like, he officially retired. He's been working as a trainer at the LA dojo for the American Corps of Young Lions there. But that's it. Like, that's the essence of his story. This is a guy who could have died because of his wrestling injuries. But then again, he's a guy who could have, and he's a guy who technically should not have returned to the ring, but there he is. 5-minute exhibition to give us the allure that we're seeing something special, right? A sliver in time, a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing, and something that a New Japan show has been in deep need of for such a while now. Just something to generate some emotion, some excitement, something to give you the feels back while watching a New Japan show. And Zack was a perfect opponent. I think Zack Sabre Jr.'s first match or first few matches in New Japan were against Shibata. So there's a nice connection there, a great history. And when the time expires and Zack Sabre Jr. is like, let's go 5 more minutes, and I'm like, God damn, don't do this. Like, don't tease it. If you're going to tease it, do it. Because Shibata was always a guy that was always regarded as a guy that was taken from us way too soon. He was loved by the audience, loved by fans, pundits, reviewers. Everyone loved Shibata. A guy who was taken away. Dare we say his prime if he's coming back? It feels good to have him back. Now, the idea here the thing here is that he takes the microphone after the match and he says, basically hints big time that he's planning a comeback. Cannot not be excited about that. Now, there's a report floating around saying that apparently he's not quite ready yet. He hasn't been medically cleared by New Japan to hit the ring again. But this match that he had with Zack Sabre Jr. may have just been like a proof of concept deal. It's like, well, let's put you in the ring here. Truth of the matter is, again, from what I've been reading, he has been lobbying to return for a match for a while now. So this isn't new, but the medical staff hasn't cleared him at this point officially. Maybe this match here, this exhibition where he just needed to go and stretch his legs and do whatever, maybe this was just something to show that he could get the job done. Maybe the medical clearance is a formality at this point. Maybe it's just like, he's ready. We just need to sign. The papers are all drawn up. We just have to sign it, kind of thing. It could be. If so, I mean, we'd be in a world where Katsuyori Shibata is wrestling again. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's nothing but good stuff out of a situation like that. I can't even begin to tell you. Very exciting and a great moment. A great moment for the company. A not so great moment, unfortunately, was the main event. We had a good thing going. I thought this match was revving up. I thought we were in another gear here. Okada, Ibushi, they're just bringing it. Okada's been in top form this entire G1. Bit of a rocky start for Ibu, but he got his sea legs back clearly. And things were rocking and rolling in this match. Just right up until the moment where Kota Ibushi goes for his Phoenix Splash. Okada rolls out of the way, and Ibushi lands hard on his arm. And Reg Shoes goes to check on him, and he continues checking on him, and the camera sort of pans out to the audience, and that doesn't happen very often in New Japan. You're like in the middle of something, and then the camera, where the referee's checking on someone, and it's someone hurt, and then the camera pans away, and you're like, nope, this isn't good. This is not good. Red Shoes eventually calls for the bell as Ibushi's lying there. Okada's in the corner and he's just staring at what's happening. They award the match to Okada from ref stoppage, medical staff run in. This ain't no angle. There's a moment where, as a wrestling fan, you're like, your bullshit detectors are on. You're like, what's going on? But at this point, you're like, no, this is not, it's not typical fare for New Japan to do this kind of stuff. This ain't an angle. Ibushi was hurt and could not continue. The referee called it. So it really, like, everything just ended on probably the worst note possible, with the wrestler hurt enough that he couldn't continue the match. It's really the worst possible outcome. We thought at first that Ibushi might have broken his arm. Meltzer is reporting that he hurt his shoulder, which is an injury that Ibushi suffered in 2010. And it took him out for 3 months. Now we're talking Ibushi 10 years ago. Like, he's 10 years older now. 11. So, let's say even if he's out for the same time frame, let's say he's out for 3 months. He's not making it to Wrestle Kingdom. He's not. He won't be cleared on time for Wrestle Kingdom. And that's wild. Okada wins, right? So Okada, I'm pretty sure Okada was set to win regardless. I think that was the whole story that they were telling, that he just went through the entire block. We've got the Rainmaker back. He looks like $1 million. Like I that's what I think. I don't think Ibushi winning suddenly pinned the thing on Ibushi, and that wasn't the plan. I think this was the plan. But imagine the pickle, if you may, that the New Japan Booking Committee is in right now. Heading into Wrestle Kingdom, biggest show of the year. They're doing 3 nights. Naito's out, and now Ibushi's out. 2 of your top guys, top draws of the company are injured. Naito, we don't know. But we don't know how long he'll be out for. But let's assume that he can't make it to Wrestle Kingdom. Let's just put that out there. You gotta be pissed off at some point. Like, if you're Gedo right now, you're like, for sure you're wondering, you're saying to yourself, what did I do so wrong this year that my karma is realigning against me like this? Like, why am I paying? What are the actions? What are the things that I did that I'm paying for now? Well, Gedo, does it have to do with, changing belts? I'm kidding. But the snake-bitten nature of New Japan in 2021 is going to hold its grip on this company till the very end, clearly to the very end. Because you've got, because when you think of everything that happened with, Will Ospreay leaving, with, going away, not leaving the company, but going away, with the Ibushi again, being injured out, catching that pneumonia or whatever he got, that serious disease that he contracted and kept him from competing, and all the gaijin elsewhere. Like I said, like Will Ospreay's not around, Jay White's not around. They got to be scrambling right now. And this year was just incredibly rough. We even lost Hiromu again for a couple of months. New Japan just cannot catch a break. But maybe the Shibata return is a bit of a godsend. Maybe that's something right there that Gedo can use. But can they use Shibata in a high-level situation like a Wrestle Kingdom main event? Can they use him at all? During the G1, you got guys like, Jeff Cobb, who was pushed to the moon. Undefeated. The only person that he lost to was Kazuchika Okada. Is he ready for one of these high-level positions? Maybe there's going to be people who are going to rise to the occasion here, which is what you hope for. And you cross your fingers and you're like, well, hopefully this is what's going to happen, because I'd love to be able to, because you want to be able to get excited about Wrestle Kingdom. So why not create opportunities for new stars to rise? But my assessment of the G1 overall, which I'm going to segue into right now, is that the result of the G1 this year was the safest possible outcome. But why would you blame New Japan with this type of year where they were still struck with COVID restrictions in buildings, not selling out as much as they want, not making as much money, with ticket gates as they're used to doing? How could you blame them for going the safe route this year and saying, look, our G1 block finals are Ibushi and Okada, two of the safest values you have in your company, two guys who are supremely over with the audience and who can deliver a 5-star performance on command. Why wouldn't you lean into these guys? Why wouldn't you lean into either of these guys to carry you into Wrestle Kingdom, right? I think it makes a lot of sense to me. Like it wasn't necessarily the year to start making new stars when your business has been suffering because of the restrictions. So are we going to be in that type of position where New Japan is going to be forced to push some new guys, or geez, worse yet, Evil, or worse yet, the Prince of Darkness? Or, are they going to turn around and go to guys like Jeff Cobb or Zack Sabre Jr., who also had a fantastic tournament? Or, are they going to get serious about a Kenta main event push? Because Kenta had a great tournament too. He wrestled fantastically in the G1. I don't quite know what you do here. But as for the G1 itself, look, it wasn't the greatest G1 in the history of G1s. No one is going to remember this one fondly. Like, absolutely not. There was nothing. There wasn't one evening of the G1 this year that was like, you guys have to sit down and watch this. I wouldn't even, there's a couple of great matches that I think that, if you feel like it, you should go check out because they were a lot of fun. But there's nothing that stands out, that stood out in the G1 Climax 31. And it will be a forgettable one. Well, you know what? Let me amend that. It would have been a forgettable one if not as to what happened, if it wasn't for what happened to Kota Ibushi tonight. This is what the G1 31 Climax is going to be remembered for. G1 Climax 31. It's going to be remembered for Kota Ibushi's unfortunate injury. Oh, and it's going to be remembered for fighting with a real sword and for real muscle live. And that you have to max to max. You have to get the max to max. You have to max the max. You have to get the max to max. You have to max. You get to max the max. That's what we're going to remember the Climax 31 for. But, as for myself, though, there are some interesting tales that came out of the G1. Like, if you watched it from top to bottom, like I did, I covered the whole thing. And if you want to go back and just listen to my recaps, there's a whole playlist available on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes where all of my breakdowns are there. I broke down every 2 nights of action. I was there. It's also available in podcast format as well. But here, my takeaways are this. Especially if we're talking positive stuff. I think the under guys are the story of the G1. The guys that you didn't expect really to win the matches and that you don't necessarily see in singles opportunities to really shine. I'm talking about the Chase Owenses, the Guerrillas of Destiny, who are both Tama Tonga and Tonga Lower, who were both in separate competition, in singles competition, one in each block. Yoshihashi as well. Guys who rose to the occasion, who probably would not have been in the G1 had Will Ospreay and Jay White, had they been around. Probably would not, there's probably a couple of guys in that situation who would not have shown up. But coming back around to their performances here, most of the time were just astounding. Just the amount of work that was put in. Yoshihashi, you guys know, longtime viewers, he's one of my favorite punching bags. I consider him a geek, but I gotta tell you, I was warming up to him in this tournament. New Japan has a legitimate underdog with Yoshihashi who works the hell out of his matches. Fantastic, and clearly he is very well liked by the locker room because everyone seems to want to help him look good. And if New Japan wanted to give an underdog story with Yoshihashi, I'd buy it. I'm in it. I dig it. I'm there. I get it. It's good stuff. It's really good stuff. Chase Owens had a tremendous G1. Had a tremendous match against Hiroshi Tanahashi. On top of that, just good, solid work from a guy whose destiny has always been to be in multi-man matches with Bullet Club and eat the pin. That's always been his destiny. And this year, fooling around with Yano and the King of Pro Wrestling gimmick, and now given a moment to just be able to show off what he's capable of doing, he does it. Tama Tonga Tongaloa, great performances by both guys. Look, Tama Tonga's even in position. He's the only guy who defeated Okada in the tournament. So what does he do after Okada wins the G1 and goes backstage? Tama Tonga pops in and he challenges him for the briefcase. And I'm like, yeah, let's get more of that. I'm down with that. I'm excited for that. Tongaloa looked fantastic. It's good stuff. Great O'Khan had a fantastic showing. Showed a lot of diversity. And I think that from this point on, I think it's, like anything and anyone, it's okay to meme on wrestling. And Great O'Khan is very memeable because of his appearance, because of his entrance, and so on and so forth. But I think that if anyone complains, moving on from this point forward, if anyone complains about Great O'Khan's in-ring work and saying, oh, he's just a big brute, he's a big goof, I don't understand what he does. Well, that will be proof to me that that person has not been watching New Japan Pro Wrestling, definitely did not watch the G1, because Great O'Khan brought up all sorts of expertise. He showed his grappling skills. He showed his shoot fighting ability on top of that. I was like, damn, this guy's got versatility. I was pleasantly surprised. So moving forward, I'm really excited to see what Great O'Khan has to offer. I'm not saying that they're going to toss him into the main event. I think they built up Jeff Cobb for that. Jeff Cobb, this is what I'm curious to see, is how far they go with Cobb as the invincible powerhouse that they set him up to be. He's very much like God damn it, his name is just slipping from my mind. Oh my God. Fire and Ice. Help me out here. I can't believe his name completely slipped my mind. Give me a second here. Oh. Let me pull it up here. He's kind of like a Vader, but it's not necessarily Vader I have in mind. More like a... Scott Norton. There we go. That's what I was thinking about. Kind of like a Scott Norton. It's kind of the vibe that I feel they're giving Jeff Cobb. And, we've seen this type of big guy in New Japan before, so he fits right in. So if that's kind of the role that they want to give him, that's fantastic. I'm just curious to see how far they're going to push this, angle, I guess, where he's this invincible, unstoppable force. Because that's exactly what he was in the G1. But yeah, and as for my favorite matches, look, if you guys want to jot these down and check them out, these are my favorite matches of the tournament. Shingo Takagi versus Tomohiro Ishii on night one. And I think that's a general consensus. I think everyone thinks that's probably the best match of the tournament. And I think that's pretty much a general consensus. Tetsuya Naito versus Zack Sabre Jr. again on night one. Fantastic. Night one really started off with a bang and got me really excited. Kazuchika Okada versus Hiroshi Tanahashi on night two. It's also a good one. It's an Okada-Tanahashi match. It's going to be great. Not as legendary as... when your bar is legendary, and then all the other matches can't live up to the legendary status, but they're still fucking amazing. This is one of them right here. It's an amazing match. Shingo versus Zack Sabre Jr. on night 3 was a lot of fun. Chase Owens versus Tanahashi. I swear, go check this match out. Night 10. It's great stuff. Great-O-Khan versus Kota Ibushi on night 13. This is where I'm talking about Great-O-Khan pulling out the versatility, his shoot style. This was it. It was great. He also had another good one with, another fun one with Zack Sabre Jr. But this one here with Ibushi I thought was particularly on point. And Cobb versus Okada on night 18. The last really great match of the tournament right there. So those are my favorite matches of the G1 this year. Oh, and don't forget, night 5 had Shingo versus Yuji Nagata in a fantastic match, but had nothing to do with the G1. It had no implications, but it was a fantastic match. Thank you, everyone, for being here. If you're enjoying this so far, don't forget to leave a like. I'm having some water and a non-alcoholic Moscow Mule that I made with some simple syrup, some ginger beer, and lime juice. Hope you guys are enjoying your evening too. And some spicy ginger beer on top of that. You know, the Jamaican stuff that goes into your nose, and you're like, how are we doing on time? All right. Want to point out that on WWE SmackDown, hey, here's something we haven't pulled out in a while. Look at this. Pull out a cool bean here. La la la. Look at that. There's a cool bean for you. We had a really good match on Friday night SmackDown, right? We had a really great match between Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks, which I have no complaints about. And is it me, or did the match feel... Oh, by the way, no, before I get into it too far, Anakin JMT left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Anakin. And he says, which was more snake bitten, New Japan 2021 or WWE around early 2015, around 2015, early 2016? And I'm trying to remember. My memory fails me because for me at this point, time is all like one wibbly wobbly thing. Let me see here. Who was on the roster around then? What was going on? A lot of people were getting injured because New Japan this year really sucked it. It really, it was really rough. Well, this was Seth's main event, right? WrestleMania moment, right? That's one thing. I mean, that's already good. And it was the John Cena United States Open Challenge, right? At the same time. So I think, like, I'm trying to remember what was so rough. Seth Rollins did get injured. Dusty and Roddy died. There's the whole Hulk Hogan business. I don't know, man. Like, I'm trying to remember exactly what was going on, but New Japan 2021 is going to be hard to beat. Injuries to top stars, COVID restrictions making the shows hard to watch, and they're not filling them up because that's how it is. They run dome shows where there's 2,000 people in the audience, which is just, it just makes the whole thing preposterous. They have guys falling sick during the summer, some of them catching COVID. You've got some serious injuries. You got more serious injuries that pop up. And we're literally 3 months away, 2.5 months away from Wrestle Kingdom. And they have another top star that just that just slithered out of their hands. So there's been unrest. You know, the New Japan 2021 is gonna go down the annals of pro wrestling as a bad year for them, for sure. Hopefully 2022 gets things better, makes things better for them, because oh boy. Anyway, all right, so back to SmackDown. A great match between Becky and Sasha, and I have no complaints. And you know what? If this is what we get when it's time for wrestling companies to compete, and we get two of the company's biggest stars putting on a very strong television match. And even on top of that, it was a pay-per-view match that they were doing for, 20-some minutes? Or just under 20 minutes, I think. How can you not get excited for that? How can you not welcome the competition, right? What is your problem then, going around and bitching and saying, if this is the world we're going to be in? Where the responses to each other are going to be, yeah, well, I'm going to drop something that people are going to get excited about. Oh, yeah, well, I'm going to drop something that people are going to get excited about. Oh, yeah, well, we're the fans. They're supposed to cater to us. You know, never mind what WWE tries to make you believe. They're supposed to cater to our taste. They're supposed to say, hey, we're giving you something that you really, really want to watch. And you know what? Good finish. Look, of course, there could not be no nonsense to this match, right? They had to do something with Bianca, with the hair, that wasn't quite comprehensible. But she swatted Becky's hand, and Becky went, ugh, and that distracted her so that Sasha could get the win. And I don't understand. That's one thing that I don't understand, though, is why they felt the need to do this, to protect Becky, I guess. But, you know, at some point you don't have to protect everyone all the time either. You can just have people lose matches, and that's fantastic. And that's okay. I mean, it wasn't a big deal. We've seen worse distractions, and we've had worse distractions. We've had worse bullshit finishes. Just like a couple of nights later on Monday Night Raw, where, look, don't get me wrong. The shows are ending with the women, right? By the way, I'm trying to say too many things at once. I'm getting excited. Let's get excited, folks. The Friday night show, right? The Friday night show didn't even end with Sasha and Becky. It ended with a fucking contract signing. Pretend paperwork. And I complained about it on Twitter, of course, because that's my brand, that's my thing. At some point, everyone is going to realize that contract signings are poor, uncreative solutions when a company is completely bankrupt to create interesting situations with its wrestlers. It's literally, we don't know what to do, pull the cord or break glass, let's pull out a contract signing. Legitimately, always the same thing. And I've had people on Twitter saying, oh, it's a cliffhanger, Warren. A cliffhanger to what? A cliffhanger to what? What are we hanging what is the cliffhanger? A cliffhanger is when you are held in suspense of what is going to happen after this. We know what's going to happen after this. They're having a match at Saudi Slam. Whether they signed the contract or not, this doesn't add anything to the match. It doesn't create any more excitement. It's just like, again, here we are with something that's just completely garbage. Oh, it's a cliffhanger to Paul's allegiances to Roman or to Brock. They've been dragging that shit out for months at this point. Or a month and a half? When did Brock come back? Am I about right? This is about the timeline? They've been dragging this out for weeks regardless. This isn't a cliffhanger anymore. Plus, they didn't even resolve it at Saudi Slam. So you can't even tell me that's a cliffhanger. Because the cliffhanger, you know what the cliffhanger implies? Do you know what the cliffhanger implies? It implies the following statement. Let's just see how this plays out. And look how it played out. This banger of a cliffhanger that ended supersized SmackDown on Friday, heading into Saudi Slam today. Look at the great cliffhanger that led us into nothing, because they didn't even resolve. If the cliffhanger was who is Paul aligned with, we don't even know. We're still in the same place. We're treading water. The only difference is that now Roman has a win. That's the main difference. That's the only place. That's the only thing that has changed since Brock Lesnar has come back. It's the only thing that has changed. We're still in the exact same spot. And then I get this tweet, this mind-boggling tweet from someone who asks me, what's wrong with contract signings? And I respond, I tell them, creatively bankrupt, why would you end the show on something like that? Why would you watch someone doing pretend paperwork for your main event? And that person, and I quote, responds this, quote, closing the show with matches every time is the same shit, unquote. Now, when I read that kind of stuff, when I read that kind of comment, all I can do is shrug and say, WWE has won. World Wrestling Entertainment has won. They got into the minds of people and made them realize, made them feel that wrestling matches on a wrestling show are always the same thing. That your main event should not be because a match is always the same thing. It blows my mind. And it's proof to me. And I can't even get mad. I wasn't even angry at the person who tweeted that. I was like, okay, well, look, this is it. This is what happened within the last 20 years of having one company unopposed doing whatever it felt like and ultimately creating a subpar wrestling product. This is what it has successfully accomplished in doing, in making the audience believe that wrestling on a wrestling show kind of stinks. We want to give you all these stories. We want to give you these stories with your favorite WWE superstars. But we've got all this pesky wrestling in the way. If it wasn't for all the wrestling, we could tell the stories we really wanted. Gosh darn it. So, I mean, WWE's won. And if anything, it makes me appreciate the indies better, makes me appreciate AEW better, and all the other alternatives to WWE, Ring of Honor, Impact, NWA. Because at least you have these areas where you're like, well, this is what a wrestling show should be about. It should be closing off with a match. Your main event should be a match. Should not be an interview. Should not be a promo. Should not be a contract signing. That's not why I watch wrestling. Can't tell you enough. Why do I watch wrestling? To watch wrestling. If I want long form, convoluted storytelling, I'll watch Game of Thrones. I'll watch the new season of You. Midnight Mass. Did you guys watch Midnight Mass? It's dope. It's really good. Binged it. So yeah, so we were talking about, before I went off on that little thing there. When we got the women on Friday, almost main eventing, And I had someone say, the final match is the main event. No, your final thing on the show is the main event. Your main event, if your final match is the main event, then it goes on last. If there's something that comes after, it's not the main event. And that's WWE poisoning you into believing that that's how it works. Like, our main event is this, but after, well, okay, so it's not the main event. You get a main event promo, you get a main event segment, you get a main event contract signing. A main event closes your fucking wrestling show. That's just how it works. Swiss roll, Chris. Good to see you. Welcome. So we're back on Monday, and we have the women main eventing, like legitimately, for real this time. You've got Charlotte and Bianca. So they're doing big women's match on Friday, big women's match on Monday. But the problem that they had here with this match, which was again very good, that really got compelling, and the audience was really behind it. There was no reason for this match to end with a disqualification. No reason at all. The reason that the brainworms will come up with is, well, we had to protect both women. You guys know my answer to this. If you have to protect both people in a match, don't book the match at all. Because when you protect everyone, no one gets over. It's just as simple as that. And the second thing is that Bianca is still such a good babyface, and Charlotte is such a good heel, that they're both in the ring doing magic, and they're getting the audience invested into it. They're getting the live crowd up on their feet. They're getting Warren Hayes here sitting around on a Monday night, sort of looking at him and say, hang on, this is really good. This is really good. And I get invested into it, and I'm popping. I'm gritting my teeth at the near falls. I'm like, shit, is Bianca going to do this? You know, all that stuff. And then Charlotte pulls in a chair and goes, boop, we're done. That deflates everything. That's not heat. That is not what heat is. We've lost our way as to what heat is when it comes to a wrestler, to a heel. This is not good heat, because it deflates. You're like, it's all the opposite. It's like, why was I invested in this match for over 20 minutes? They went over 20 minutes on this match. Let me pull it up here because I don't quite remember. 21 minutes, 45 seconds, according to Cage Match. Darkman060, welcome to the chat. Nothing matters on Raw. That's the thing, and that's what makes watching WWE doubly frustrating these days, when on the opposite side, when you have a competitor who has suddenly developed the capacity to give the audience what he wants. They just give the audience what they just go ahead and pop everyone, have a good time. Like, honestly, if you need to protect both people, if you need to protect both women, don't book the match. Just give us a satisfying ending, because the match was compelling, and it's not testament. It's not, the feeling that you have after the match should not be that. Should not be, Should be either, yes, Bianca did it, or, Charlotte managed. You know, kind of thing. It's either or. Because this type of bullshit, no one gets over. And when you think about it, and I swear this is what I was thinking they were going to do. They being WWE, had the perfect opportunity to have these women go the distance. Go for the time limit. Give us the Danielson Omega finish. And you know what? With the intensity that this match was delivering, and the drama that it was building to, if they had put a 20-minute time limit on it and the women reached 20, no one would have bitched. Well, you probably would have had people bitch, but at least it would have been like, look, this was an awesome match. Both women gave it their all, and they went the distance. We have unfinished business here. And that is much cooler than ending with the champion coming in with a chair to force a DQ, which is cheap as fuck. It's lazy booking. And Bianca continues to be booked like a geek. Strongest woman they've pushed in a long time. Ever since she lost the title, she's a geek. Because now 3 of the 4 horsewomen are back. So of course you have to, bend over backwards to make sure they stay over when they'll be over regardless. Like at this point, you don't have to work into making these women super over. Why not heat up some new competition? Keep Bianca strong, because Bianca's not looking strong these days. Don't kid yourselves. They're booking her like a geek. Look, she lost today at Saudi Slam. She lost. And you know what? Here's something else. If I'm Charlotte, you remember the promo that she cut when she came out? If I'm Charlotte Flair, heel, right? And I come out and I'm pissed because I don't have a send-off, no one's here with the champagne, all that shit. Like, if I'm Charlotte Flair and I'm the Raw champion, and the brand that I am champion of did not draft me, I don't come out saying I deserve this one. I come out and I'm pissed. I come out and I'm mad. I'm saying, you know what? You didn't want to keep me? That's fantastic. I'm going to SmackDown and I'm taking my title with me. Yo, you can't go with the title. That's the Raw title. Well, someone's gonna have to come take it off of me. Like a good old territory days type of angle, where this guy leaves the territory with the belt. That kind of thing. And that would have been very cool. And it would have been something new for Charlotte to do. Where she's over on SmackDown with the Raw title, and Raw's like, my God, what are we gonna do? And then you maybe add some stakes for Survivor Series. Why don't you have a Survivor Series match where, Charlotte is on the team, and if Team Raw is on Team SmackDown, and if Team Raw wins, the title comes back to Raw, it's vacated, whatever. Just add some stuff to it. But it seems to me, Charlotte should go off to SmackDown with the belt and be like, suck on it, Raw. You didn't want me? Then I'm taking the belt with me. Wouldn't that have been cool? I feel that would have been cool. All right, let's talk about Saudi Slam. I did not watch the show, so I don't have much to say, nor about the results really, except for one thing, which I'm already sure you guys know what I'm talking about, what I'm going to talk about. No, I didn't watch the show. I don't plan on it either. Because I maintain the vision that, if look, I'm shocked and surprised that a lot of my peers, a lot of colleagues who do the wrestling media thing, embraced Crown Jewel so easily this year, regardless of the fact that it's in Saudi Arabia, that has a terrible, absolutely awful human rights record. But outside of that, I was listening to, a lot of people do their predictions on Crown Jewel and all that stuff. And it was wild to me that everyone was so casual about the fact, let's say, for instance, Sammy's not going to win, is not going to go to the finals of King of the Ring because he's Syrian and, his ethnicity keeps them from going in there. Oh, well, Shayna's not going to win because, she's openly she's openly gay. She's a lesbian, and homosexuality is illegal and so she's not going to win. She's not going to go head to the finals. And I'm like, how is this a casual conversation that suddenly becomes a part of the booking, that you sort of like piece things together and you say to yourself, well, we can't do this wrestler won't be able to advance because of their sexual orientation. How does that even feel normal as far as the conversation goes? I don't understand it. If there was a wrestling promotion anywhere in the world that was running a match where they openly said, hey, you know what? We don't want any gays in our show, we would be burning that promotion to the ground on Twitter. We would be flaming it alive. And yet, everyone was like, oh, well, Shayna's not going to be able to go. And then the brainworms kick in, right? It's like, well, of course Shayna can't go because WWE's holding the show there, and that's just how it is in Saudi Arabia. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? WWE doesn't have to run a show there. They're not obligated. They don't have a gun to their head. They chose to run these shows. They always choose to run these shows. Yes, for the money, but it's still a choice that they make. This is the same company that then will flaunt its wrestlers during Pride Month. They'll pull out Sonya Deville. They'll have Toni Storm do a coming out. Then they'll do all of this great shit when Pride Month is around. But then when it's time to put your money where your mouth is, they'll just hit the bricks, go to Saudi Arabia, where their LGBTQ wrestlers are not welcome, where wrestlers of certain ethnicities are not welcome, and pull on a show. And we're going to all sit like and be like, woo, all right, so let's get excited. Sounds like a really good show. I feel like we've normalized this. I really feel like we've normalized WWE going to Saudi Arabia and just doing a collective shrug. And listen, I will not poo-poo on any wrestling podcast that has made the move to say any money that we make from ads or from super chats or from cheers or from bits or whatever during our broadcast, we are going to be donating those to a charity. That's fantastic. But I'm going to tell you one thing. That still means WWE has won. That still means that they've won because you are still covering the event. And WWE doesn't give a shit about what you do with your money. If it was their money, they'd have something to say about it, but they don't give a shit. They don't care about what you do with their money. Again, it is probably the best outcome for any outlet who wanted to do this, to be like, we're going to donate to charity. But ultimately, WWE wins. WWE gets the pin on you because you did a prediction show where you were like, weird Saudi Arabian, they're cuckoo crazy social norms here. Homosexuals get flogged. So don't send the gays. It's inconceivable to me that the discourse has been so normal about it. And it's because it shouldn't be. This is the same company that does a Pride for 9/11 thing. That prides itself on the fact that they were running shows after the Twin Towers fell, when there is pretty darn solid proof that the government of Saudi Arabia had something to do in funding the attacks. I'm not saying every government is I'm not saying the American government is perfect. I'm not even saying the Canadian government is perfect. Far from it. But at some point, you can at the very least, pinpoint human rights Warren, this is their culture, you should respect it. No, I don't. I don't have to respect it. I don't. If it doesn't collide, if it doesn't mesh with my own set of values, I don't have to respect it. If I run into a racist, just like, or a neo-Nazi, and someone tells me, well, Warren, you're going to have to, share the bus with him, because that's his culture. You have to respect his ideas. No, I don't. I can take another bus. He can take another bus. I don't have to respect it. That's the thing. And how do I not respect it? By not going. And I cry bullshit on anyone who says, "Oh, these are the steps, these are the steps for the government, to start softening and opening themselves up to." Okay. So we've been to Saudi Arabia like 3 years now, or something like that. There's been a few shows. Can women hold full-time jobs without asking their husbands for permission now? Can they do that now? The whole thing pisses me off on a basis. But seeing right here, tons of my colleagues and peers just being so casual about it and talking about it like it's a fucking TLC pay-per-view, but it's not. Anakin JMT left us a super chat. Thank you very much. He left us 2, actually. He says, I feel like it's gotten talked about so much in the first couple of years of Saudi shows that it's boring to talk about, like complaining about Trump. We all know it, so people are bored of rehashing it. Doesn't make it right, of course. This is, but there it is. Okay. Like, I understand, but I think there is also a substantial amount of forgetfulness. I don't think it's as much. Look, this is the part where people will say, this is the part where you can find the value signaler, the virtue signalers, versus the people who really feel passionately and sincerely about a thing, right? Because outside of that, be consistent. Because if one was part of shitting on Saudi Arabia when they started going there a couple of years ago, and listen, if memory serves me right, and I could be, but I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, like, I'm not clean as the driven snow here. I think that I was at Fightful for the first Crown Jewel event, and I'm pretty sure I covered it with Sean. I think we did the post show, and we were doing donations. But yeah, like anything, you read, you educate, you change your mind. As the years went on, I was like, I can't do this. I can't talk about this show. I can't. Just keep in mind and watch, right? When it's time to virtue signal on things, when it's time to be like, Pride Month or so on and so forth, Women's International Day, just remember who was covering. Remember who was covering Crown Jewel. Because at some point your left brain and your right brain have to start talking. They have to start connecting. But thank you for the super chats, Anakin. And for the record, just so I want to say hello to Michael Morgan. Nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Evan Wright as well. Oh, Evan. And Machine. Nice to see you too. And for the record, I have, very close members of my family who are part of the LGBTQ community. I have quite quite a few, and some very close friends as well that are very dear to me. So I try to be the best ally possible, because this kind of stuff hits very, very close to home. That's why I get unnerved about it. That's why it rubs me the wrong way. I might be straight, but I'm surrounded by fantastic people who identify as such in that community. And to me, just blows my mind. Just blows my mind that there's places in the world that will still be so inherently cruel like that. Basic human rights, like still hundreds of years in the past. So, Saudi Slam. The Usos defeated the Hurt Business. Good for them. Edge defeated Seth Rollins in the Hell in a Cell match. Apparently, it's very good. It'll probably be the best match I'll never watch. Mansoor defeated Mustafa Ali. No big surprise there. RK Bro defeated AJ Styles and Omos. And Zelina Vega defeated Doudrop. What the hell is this company? Defeated in 5 minutes and 50 seconds, according to our boys and gals and everyone in between at Cage Match. The entirety of the tournament is about 20 minutes. It's about 20 minutes. The entirety of this tournament lasted 20 minutes. So this was an opportunity to heat up some wrestlers, create some contenders, put some people into our faces to be like, okay, we should be cheering for these people, get excited for them, and eventually, have these people at the ready to be credible contenders for any title, right? Because at some point, we're gonna have to break out of this cycle of Sasha, Becky, Charlotte, Bianca, and we're gonna have to start tossing up new people. And do you know why contenders like Carmella don't work? Or contenders like Nikki Ash don't work? It's because they're not heated up. It's basic fucking wrestling booking. It's so basic. You heat up your future contenders. But what WWE does is like, okay, so this feud is done here. We're going to take you and we're going to drop you here. Boop. Yeah, but I haven't wrestled in 6 weeks. No big deal. Let's go. And just like, because it's your turn. They don't heat people up. They don't make them exciting. They don't get people invested behind these wrestlers for good or ill, right? For heel or babyface. They don't do it. You don't get people over. Trust me. You do not get people over in 2-minute matches. You don't. You just don't. And the people who are fighting these 2-minute matches aren't improving in the ring. They're not getting better. You don't improve with a 2-minute TV match. You don't. I will say, look, there is one well-done mid-card match, a feud for the women right now that they started on Friday with Sonya Deville and Naomi, and Sonya Deville abusing her power, bringing Shayna Baszler in to beat her up. That's cool. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, is this where they're going to start heating up Naomi so that she will look and feel like a contender because people are going to get behind her because of these injustices. Because if Sonya keeps abusing her power like that, we're going to get behind Naomi. Won't be a problem. I think it's cool, basic, simple babyface versus heel booking. And if they're doing this to warm up Bianca, get her ready for a title run, it's good stuff. But in the meantime, the Queen's Crown tournament was nothing. It gave nothing. And we gave the title to Zelina Vega, who is not a good pro wrestler. She's not. But she's going to be a good character. That's what everyone says. Oh, she's going to be so despicable. What I would have liked is to have someone who will get some actual ring time out of it and become gain more of a presence in whatever division they end up in. It stinks. Goldberg defeated Bobby Lashley. All right. Xavier Woods defeats Finn Balor. And credit where credit is due. This was the right outcome. Everybody's celebrating. Look, we were talking about this with Anakin actually in the Discord. You should join the Discord. Link is in the description. We were talking about this with Anakin a bit before popping on, where, after the match, you have Xavier Woods, who's cutting a very heartfelt promo on how the win for the King of the Ring win for him was so meaningful and was very, very heartfelt and sincere. Anakin was like, "Look how great this is," and I'm like, "This has been the MO of the New Day from Kofi's win championship run to Big E's to this." For some reason, the New Day are always able to come across as really sincere and authentic and true. And if all of WWE wrestlers were allowed to cut these types of promos and get us invested in what they really, really are like, and we'd be like, "This is fun." It'd be so much easier to support them, to watch the show, to get excited for their matches. It really would be. But no, we end up with, we end up with the contrived promos and weird situations. But you cannot but feel good for Kofi for Xavier Woods, because this is what he's been wanting for a while. And it created a connection with the audience. And God bless WWE for doing the good thing and giving the audience what it wants. And the thing is that everyone's patting them on the back and saying, "Good job, WWE," but I'm like, this is what you should be doing on the reg. This is what WWE should be doing regularly, and that is giving the audience what they want to see, giving the people they want to see win these legitimate, real connections that exist. Xavier Woods is a terribly likable guy, and again, you see that he's a terribly likable guy because you've got people across promotions congratulating him on winning the fucking King of the Ring tournament. He didn't even ring, but everyone bought it. Everyone got into it, and everyone likes Xavier Woods. So congratulations. I'm really happy that this was the way it was supposed to go, and I'm glad that his dream has been fulfilled. Big E defeated Drew McIntyre. Becky Lynch defeated Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. See, Bianca's a geek. Bianca's a geek again. And the Universal title was successfully retained by Roman Reigns when he defeated Brock Lesnar. Congratulations to all the winners. Let's talk some. My chair's okay. Thank you everyone for being here. Have you liked the video yet? Let's talk about some AEW before we wrap this one up. A big weekend Friday night Rampage with a Rampage buy-in. Look, you guys know I love this shit. You guys know I love this. I love the competition. I love when the companies take shots at each other. I dig it. I think it's amazing. Now Eric Bischoff wants some of this. I'm like, what is Eric Bischoff's? Look here. Eric Bischoff coming out and saying to Tony Khan, shut up and wrestle. Stop pretend competing. Throw barbs when you're actually competing head to head, right? That's his thing. It's like, now you're pretend competing. So shut up and wrestle and, stop, basically stop taking shots like that. And Tony Khan is like, basically, what the fuck are you doing, Eric? Hit the bricks. And Eric Bischoff is like, so then I'm like, hang on a second. Wait a minute. What the hell is going on? Why is Eric Bischoff inserting himself into something that he doesn't have a horse in this race? I don't understand it. But you know when I understood it? I'll tell you when I understood it. Then the light went ding, and then everything made sense. Eric Bischoff today says, I am going to drop some dirt, something like that, on Tony Khan, and the reality is going to be so real, it's going to hurt. Tune in to the next 83 weeks, and I'm like, fucking bravo, Eric Bischoff. Still the king of the carnies, still there to take advantage of controversy, to drag people onto your podcast, creating controversy for yourself, because you're not even involved in this, but you're going to get record numbers on your podcast on, Monday, whenever it's put out? Because people are going to want to listen to what you have to say about Tony Khan, this big dirt, and it's going to hurt. I've got some shit that I'm going to drop. I mean, that was the end game, because I didn't understand. I don't know what his issue was, and then I'm like, look at how masterful a stroke this is, inserting himself into a feud that doesn't even concern him. If I had been Tony Khan, I would have just been like, shh, it's good. Let Eric have his little tantrum kind of thing. But Eric doubles down on it. Eric was like, he fell into my trap on Monday, 83 weeks. And there you go. That's what he wanted. He's going to get it. He's going to get more viewers, probably going to get some new subscribers to his podcast. Conrad's going to be happy. Guys, gals, why other? There is no other reason for Eric Bischoff to get involved in this. He has got no pony in this race. No pony. If he was selling, I don't know, like he's even showed up on AEW, he's got a paycheck from them from time to time. What the hell is going on? Eric, you brilliant mastermind, you. And I mean that sincerely. Always working. Fantastic stuff. Anyway, so look at what we got on Friday night. On Friday night, we got that amazing Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks match. That's a treat. And then over on the AEW side of things, we get fucking Bryan Danielson and Minoru Suzuki for free on YouTube. I've had my rant about this. And the match ruled. And it was a New Japan match that they had. And it was fantastic. Two guys just going in to hurt each other. This was the American Dragon. This is the guy who came in with violence. He keeps talking about violence. Well, he delivered violence that night. It was great stuff. I like the Hulk up, like the adrenaline rush moments where they strike each other, and I dug it. It was structured like a New Japan match, which makes me like, all right, send Danielson over to New Japan. Maybe he'll save Wrestle Kingdom. have him. Then I was joking about it today. It's like, let's book Shibata versus Danielson in a they told us we couldn't go anymore match. But honestly, who wouldn't want to watch Shibata and Danielson go at it? Jesus Christ. Great match. I considered it to be a match of the year candidate. I thought it was amazing, and we got it for free on YouTube, and you can go watch it again anytime you want because it's out there for free on YouTube. You can watch it at your public library or in the parking lot of your favorite Taco Bell, or the Taco Bell that you don't like because you're ganking the internet from them. It's amazing. I thought it was a fantastic match. What wasn't so fantastic is the Ty Conti Santana Garrett match, which was clearly, a match set up to try to erase from our memories that terrible NXT match that they had. Terrible. Probably the worst match in the history of NXT. And it was all right, but it still felt like running through motions. It did not feel natural. Felt a little step behind. Definitely wasn't as bad as the other one, which felt like a warm-up more than a match. Wasn't great. Bobby Fish versus Lee Moriarty was great. I thought that was amazing. And then on the main card, we get CM Punk versus Matt Sydal, which tore the house down. On top of all of that, that was a lot of fun. Surprising amount of grappling. CM Punk stretching his legs a little bit, right? Trying some stuff out. And I've seen some people say, now that we've had a few CM Punk matches out of the way, people are saying, well, his wrestling is so much better than it's ever been in WWE, right? But has CM Punk really improved that much, or is he finally out of the WWE patterns, right? And this is not a knock on him. I just don't know, because you guys know and I know that WWE is all about the patterns. You're not supposed to do this. You do this. This is your moveset. Now he's stretching his limbs. He's trying shit out. He's doing other stuff. Let's go, man. Let's fucking go. Anakin JMT left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Anakin. He says, I watched that NXT match. And talking about the Santana Garrett Ty Conti match. And I didn't see anything that offensive. AEW match was better, but I wouldn't say it's by a landslide. Are you sure you watched the same match? Because it was slow and it was sloppy and it was not good. Like, it is really the worst match that was ever put on in NXT. It was not good. It was a death knell for both those ladies. You sure we watched the same one? Because it really looked like they were rehearsing moves as opposed to really chaining things together for a wrestling match. I'm not sure, Anakin. I've seen worse, of course. Hulk Hogan and Warrior, Piper and Hogan, that's fine. Doesn't have to be worse than that to be a bad match. It was still a bad match. Bunny versus Ruby Soho that outdrew Roman Reigns. I'm not getting into that. But this was, honestly, I think this was Bunny's best AEW match. I really do. It was really good. Ruby Soho pulled a good one. Inner Circle and American Tag Team, American Top Team, not Tag Team, Top Team America, was, I thought it was great. I thought it was a really fun, chaotic main event. And it's still continuing. Santana and Ortiz come to the rescue. We got the Inner Circle all back together. My only concern, the only concern that I have with the whole America Top Team thing, because we're focusing a lot on Paige Van Zandt, we're focusing a lot on Junior Del Santos, but my only concern is this going to get your AEW guys over? Is this going to work out for Sky? And is this going to work out for Ethan Page? That's my only concern. Because right now, there's a lot of focus on the MMA people. Lambert is a huge presence. And there's a lot of people now. Now, the America Top Team, there's a lot of people in there. Scorpio and Ethan, kind of worried they're getting lost in the mix here. AEW are no dummies, but I'm just going to keep an eye on this. If we head on over to Dynamite on Saturday, Malachi Black and Dante Martin was such a treat. It was a treat. Wasn't, chat, am I right? Wasn't that match a treat? And I'm going to tell you straight now, immediately, y'all going to stop with is Malachi Black a heel? They need to turn him face. He's getting cheerleaders. Malachi Black comes out in the middle. He comes out through the center. He doesn't come out of the babyface tunnel. He doesn't come out of the heel tunnel. He comes down straight the middle. This is a dude who doesn't have an alignment. Exactly like Cody. Cody has said it before. I'm not a heel. I'm not a babyface. Well, guess what? Neither is Malachi Black. So whatever reactions that they are garnering, those are organic. And it's the ones that they want. They want the audience to react. You think they really have a problem with the audience booing Cody? They don't care that Cody's getting booed. Cody's getting a reaction. You think they care that Malachi Black is getting cheered? No. Black is getting a reaction, and big reactions at that. So stop with this. Babyface, he doesn't have to be anything, and it's clear. If you follow how the fucking ring things, the entrance things work, it is clear as day that Malachi Black is neither a heel nor a babyface. He just comes out to whoop people. Just as simple as that. And yes, I did notice the little respect thing to Dante Martin, which Malachi Black has not given Cody or Brock or Lee Johnson or Dustin or Arn. Nice little touch there. Las Superanas defeated the Lucha Bros to become the AAA Tag Team Champions. Of course, they were FTR. And I like how CM Punk was like, that's Cash Wheeler. It's like, we're done. No time for bullshit. We're not doing this, right? I can tell it's him. What I think is amazing here, what I really think is awesome, is that the team that's made its name with the no flips, just fists line, that preached the sanctity of good old-fashioned old-school tag team wrestling, is carrying the tag championship belts of the premier Lucha Libre promotion in North America. It's amazing. I think it is such a funny, absurd thing that is just perfect in pro wrestling. And then people are like, well, can't they do anything better with FTR? Probably, but maybe they just don't have anything for FTR right now. So what do? You keep FTR away then? You just keep them off TV? Continue having them wrestle. They're going to go to Mexico to defend the titles. Right? AK Germany 96, good to see you. Welcome to the chat. The match was okay. It's the result that's amazing. And to cap this one off, I'll read a super chat from our boy Anakin again. Thank you very much, Anakin, for all the super chats tonight. I appreciate it. He says, Cowboy promo on level of hard times and pipe bomb. If Hangman doesn't win at Full Gear, I'll burn the Discord down. Don't tempt me, TK. I'll do it. Con! Did I do a good rendition? The Hangman promo was fantastic. It was really fantastic. And it is going to be his signature promo moving forward. This was the promo that defined the past year or so for Hangman Page. Everything he's been through. And I gotta say, and this is coming from a guy who is in his mid-40s, I'm pushing 50. This is what makes him relatable to the younger audience that is watching AEW. The struggles that are very human and very real made him question his confidence, and then turn around and saying, cowboy shit is about family. You're like, my God, man, you're so grounded. It's literally the guy who goes off, tries to be a success, follows all these patterns that everyone has done, and it ends up not working for him. He hits the bottle. But then when he goes off and he recenters himself and he focuses on shit that's real, right? Tangible, family. He's like, yeah, I'm coming back and I'm better than ever. And I'm coming for that title. I failed you guys before, but I'm not going to fail you again. I'm like, it was a great promo. And not one of these, crazy, promos where Cody gets really, really excited about something and, you can feel like his heart wanting to slip out of his throat. Not one of these Eddie Kingston awesome promos where, he just starts rattling off everything about his past. And this was poised. You felt like this was a new Hangman, a refreshed, revitalized Hangman. Now, is he going into Full Gear to win the AEW World title? I think it makes sense at this point to do it. The WarrenHayes fantasy booking show placed Hangman winning the title at in February at Revolution. That's just me. But maybe we are at a moment where it's like, okay, we gotta pull back on the. We gotta pull back a little bit and we do have to give a little bit. But I still think if Omega manages to retain the title at Full Gear, I still don't think Hangman is done. I still don't think he's tossed aside. It's all about the struggle, man, and it's all about the story. But this is good. It's good. It's very good. I wouldn't complain either way. I'd be happy if he won. Be happy if he lost. If that's something you want to go down here. Fun Dynamite. I liked it. But I'm going to have to cut it short here. That was the weekly wrestling inspection. Yes, sirree, folks. We're going to wrap it up for another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. God darn it. Gosh darn it. Thank you all so very, very much for joining me again on this wonderful Thursday evening. I hope you had a good time. Remember, if you're a member and you want to talk more about the PWI Women's 150, stick around. The post stream is going to start up in a couple of minutes and we're going to go talk about it. It's going to be awesome. If you're not a member and you'd like to do it right now, join become a member and you can come talk with us. It's good. I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun. I want to hear what you guys thought about the list. So come, let's go do that. And remember all the great stuff, the women's wrestling celebration that we're doing this weekend at Bell to Bells. YouTube.com/Bell to Bells. Subscribe to the channel there. That way you won't miss the live streams. You won't miss the video content. And visit belltobells.com as well, because we've got articles going up there too. Remember the print word? That still exists. We've got so much great stuff, and I am excited for me to show you all the interviews I got. Ty Conti, Deonna Purrazzo, Camille. I didn't interview her, but we got Mickie James as well. We got who else do we have? We got a whole bunch of them. I recorded so many, I'm starting to forget. Did I say Ty Conti? Yes, I did say Ty. Mercedes Martinez. Exciting stuff, folks. So be sure to come and join us this weekend for that over at Bell to Bells. It'll be a good time. In the meantime, I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Have a fantastic Friday. And thank you again so much for joining me. And see you next time.